everyone. I am sitting down now to listen to my next Beatles song, still from the album Please Please Me. And this one is entitled, Do You Want to Know a Secret? Now, Vlad has collected a bit of information for me ahead of time. According to the official Beatles website, the genre of this song is rock and roll. And it is sung by George Harrison. Apparently, it was the first top 10 song to feature Harrison as the lead singer in the United States. I guess it reached number 2 on the Billboard chart in 1964. It was written in the autumn of 1962 and primarily composed by John Lennon. It turns out the song was inspired by I'm Wishing from the 1937 animated film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which I guess, according to the information I've been given, John Lennon's mother, Julia, would sing to him as a child. So he has some childhood connection to a memory, and he's applying it now in his musical creativity. Lennon said in a 1980 interview that he had realized as soon as he had finished writing the song that it was best suited to Harrison's voice, which is why George Harrison was the one to sing it. So I'm curious to see how this sounds. I like the idea of it having a link to a childhood memory, and there's a sort of immediate feeling of innocence that brings to mind. So I don't know what I'm up against, but let's go ahead, and as usual in this Beatles project, I'm going to listen straight through without a break first, and then I'll go back and listen again and make comments along the way.
You'll never know how much I really love you. You'll never know how much I really care. Listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell?
Of course it's a secret. It has to be a secret, which nobody knows, just we two. And why? Because that's how young people are. Well, at least they used to be.
Whoa, whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you. Ooh, listen. Do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer.
Let me whisper in your ear. And you're like, what? What happened? What's the secret all about? I'm in love with you.
Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you. Ooh, I've known a secret for a week or two. Nobody knows, just we two. Listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer.
It's not like, grandpa's music or even mom's music. It's not some high art music where you have to apply your intellect and and sort through your emotions and understand the nuances. This is everyday music.
Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you.
Yes, there is a little echo of the Snow White song in there. And if you've heard that old movie, You might remember. You want to know a secret? Promise not to tell? It's the way we speak when we are asking a question and a little bit of suspense. And you hear that in the music here too. Anyway, let's go back and listen again and see what we can discover in the music more than that.
You'll never know how much I really love you. You'll never know how much I really care.
That opening is different from the other songs that I've listened to on this album so far. It has a sort of making an announcement feel. You'll never know how much I really love you. It's like there's almost a theatrical quality to it. At the same time, it's not done theatrically. You could way overdo it if you wanted, but they were careful not to make it too bombastic and ridiculous, because the idea is it is an announcement of something. Somebody's gotten brave enough to come say something. So it also has, well, you see, of course, a person would never speak like that on a single pitch. It's more like a town crier type announcement or a public announcement tone of voice where you're calling it out, but it's not done in a way that means that it's public. It's just telling us that this is the announcement that is ready to be made. Let's go on.
Listen, do you want to know a secret?
And there it is. Listen, do you want to know a secret? Well, this one is slightly modified from the Disney film, Do You Want to Know a Secret? This one is, do you want to know a secret? And it falls down a little bit at the end. So you can see that the song isn't merely a copy of something that came before. It was a childhood inspiration, something that was retained and affectionately remembered, but it's simply being used as the inspirational material here. And I can imagine, is it Lennon who wrote this song? And I can imagine Lennon as a child listening to his mother sing the song, Do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? And that little ascending line of the music, catching his imagination and it sticks in your mind. And so he's retained that, and we hear it in this song. We're going to hear that it comes many times in his modified version, right? Because now he's transformed it into his own creation. But because of what we know about the song, we can link our way back to that childhood memory, and we can hear from where the inspiration came for this ascending line. Do you want to know a secret? So let's continue, and it'll be interesting to see how many times that little rising line shows up in the music. So in fact, I'm going to try to do a little project here, and I'll try to circle it every time it shows up on the page. All right, here we go.
Secret, do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer.
Closer?
Let me whisper in your ear.
Here's the same line.
Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you. Ooh, listen.
And then of course it comes again.
Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear.
Yeah. So we have this rising line, which he's recalled from his childhood and he's transformed it here as one of the main material building blocks of this song. And then, of course, the other thing that I like is the way he says, closer. That is not necessarily from the movie. That's his own thing. But he's using the same spoken word speech patterns. Do you want to know a secret? Closer. 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 Come closer. You know, it has this very charming, delightful, innocent quality to it. And I like that. Okay, we're going to go on. I'm going to keep looking for this ascending line. Okay, here we go.
Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you. Ooh, I've known a secret for a week or two.
And I like that too. Like, imagine this. Some young kid decides he's in love with somebody. And he goes to his girl and he says, do you want to know a secret? And promise not to tell. And then come closer then, because I don't want anyone else to find out. I'm in love with you. And then his confession. I've known a secret for a week or two. A week or two! Come on! Like a week or two. This is so childlike and sweet. I've known a secret for a week or two. I've been holding it in myself. I've just been working up the courage to come tell you. It is charming. All right, let's go on.
I've known a secret for a week or two. Nobody knows. Just we two. Listen. Do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with
And that's all it is. It's so sweet. Yet another love song. And we're still in the teenager's innocent years with now this perspective, the secret. And as you noticed, I was struck by the opening where it's that sort of announcement and then a little bit of a flourish of the instrument, and then you'll never know how much I really care, and then the instruments do a little bit of running around. It's something that I haven't heard in their music before, where they are giving this sort of verbal introduction. Not instrumental, but verbal, vocal, and it works really well. And if we want to get really grand, we could take it all the way to the operatic scene and say it's kind of like the overture, the part of the music that sets up all the drama that's going to be coming ahead of us without giving it away. And that's what happened here. You'll never know how much I really love you. Little bit of flourish. You'll never know how much I really care. More flourish. And then, of course, you can think, what is that instrumental flourish about? Is that just adding some drama to the announcement? Or is it maybe a little bit of butterflies in the stomach as he's getting ready to make his declaration? It clearly keeps us in the young love, adolescent bravery, declaring with a slight tone of one who feels like he can't be understood and he will never be because it's too much he can't express, and how could she ever know how much? You'll never know how much I really love you. You'll never know how much I really care. And then, of course, the secret. Of course it's a secret. It has to be a secret, which nobody knows, just we two. And why? Because that's how young people are. Well, at least they used to be. They're shy. And you can think a bit of, if we go back to Snow White, she ran inside and closed the door. And, of course, the young man was there declaring his love out loud. And then, of course, as she's standing on the balcony and sends the kiss to her lover, even the dove, it has this moment where it blushes before conveying the kiss to the lover. Well, of course, this is the lover himself feeling a bit shy, but it's that same experience of, this is all so new, and do I dare? And it's that shyness that is so delightful and charming. And the song gets it perfect. Do you promise not to tell? Closer, let me whisper in your ear. And you're like, what? What happened? What's the secret all about? I'm in love with you. So of course it's a secret. It's the secret because it means the world to him. How old were the Beatles in 63?
Ringo and John, 23. Paul was 21 and George was 20 years old.
Okay, that makes sense because, well, I know this was coming from their first album, so they must have been young, and okay, they're barely out of their first love innocent age. They're hardly into their 20s at all. And so they have these fresh memories of what it was like, and maybe they even still feel like that sometimes. I don't know. Well, you have to have that vivid experience and memory of an experience in order to express it well. And so at this age, of course, they were able to write so freshly about these topics. They were able to catch the essence of that adolescent period because they've just passed through it themselves. And I begin to understand more and more why people went crazy over their music. Young people went crazy over their music because suddenly here's a group who gets them, who can express and give them a means of expression for the things they're feeling and experiencing. And it feels very, very relevant, very immediate, very in tune, in touch with their lives as they are. It's not like, grandpa's music or even mom's music. It's not some high art music where you have to apply your intellect and sort through your emotions and understand the nuances. This is everyday music. It is music, every life music. Well, there was this movement in classical music in France in the early 20th century, where some classical composers, very brilliant classical composers, and they wrote some fine music, they kind of made a name for themselves because they were pushing against they wanted to discard all the excess that had come and developed around music and composition and the style that had been before them. And one of them said that his goal was to write, and I don't speak French fluently. I've studied this, I've read about this, and so I'm going to tell you what I've read. That his goal was to write what can best be translated into English as furniture music. Not meaning crude, but meaning something that serves the everyday spirit, the everyday experience, the everyday life. Something that fits within our lives as we live them, rather than something where you have to go to the symphony hall or you have to go to a concert or an opera or this or that. It's music. Their ambition was to write music that was immediate and accessible and relevant. Of course, they were still classical musicians and they still worked within the classical world, but they had a massive influence on what came after them. Here, I think the Beatles are doing the same thing. They are discovering a simplicity, a relevance, an immediacy that can be expressed through music, which is instantly able to connect with the audience. And that is actually something that every artist would love to achieve, to build such a close connection with the audience. It is something that I always aim for. When I'm playing my instrument, I want it to be meaningful, even if I'm playing some complex classical piece. I want it to reach the audience in front of me in a very personal, immediate way. And so, all that is to say, looking through this music in this album, I begin to understand why they took the world by storm. Why everybody went crazy over them, at least the young people. And also, of course, why the older generations struggled to catch up, because it's not deeply intellectual, it's not deeply artistic on a deep level. At the same time, it is very suitable for its purpose. And this is another song where I have to say, it's charming, it's delightful, it's sweet, it's very appealing in that way. And I like it. I'll see you soon.